Hibiscus, we have to focus on Boriken, aka Puerto Rico. There is a divine reason why they are going through a cultural renaissance. I want you to really ask yourself, why would it be in this moment in time, globally, for the first time and in a real way, the rest of the world is not just obsessed with the Boricas art, but they're understanding their causes, their struggles. They're learning about their history in a way that isn't tainted by their real life still occupying colonizers. Let me explain. I do colonizer-free astrology, okay? And I have been using my community's astrology to educate people about all these colonial empires basically being in their downfall era. And it begins with the downfall of the American empire, and then it's a domino effect. I taught you even about Mexico, and I said Mexico is now going to start blossoming, and you are going to see a lot of relationship building with the wrong indigenous people of Mexico. I told you about all the chaos with Trump and Musk, the return of fascism. We've been discussing it because I said to you all, do not get confused and scared by these losers, because astrologically we're in the downfall of colonialism. They are getting scarier and spookier because they know their power's going, and once it's gone, and they never get it back. There is a divine reason what you're seeing between Boriken and the rest of the world right now. In all honesty, grab a cup of jar, get comfortable, let's have a candid cosmic chit chat about the liberation of Boriken, because it's here. It's going to take some time, but it begins this year and it's only going to go strength to strength. So let's go. Just in case you're new around here, keep these two things in mind so the series is a little bit more easier to follow along. So number one, there's 108 star signs, not 12. Number two, anyone, anything, any country is comprised of 20 birth charts. In this series, we are looking at the Rasi chart. That's your cosmic blueprint, so it contains a lot of your dominant life experiences or purposes and realities as an entity. And secondly, it's considered a chart of immature self. So this is all the work that has to be done for liberation to be reached. And it talks about all the changes you'll go through to turn into like the mature version of what's destined. Bada boom, bada bing. It's okay if you didn't know any of that. Listen, colonialism, whitewashing, cultural appropriation, but welcome to Silent Liberation. Let's get back into our conversation. Number one, Boriken is currently going through its 20-year Venus Mahadasha. Venus symbolizes the following. So it's not just artistic expression, but it's also misfortune, ill reputation, learning. The last time you guys went through your Venus Mahadasha, this is when the colonizers implemented a bunch of laws and policies, not to just sever you from your culture, but to literally make it illegal, to demonize it. The fact that you are going through a cultural renaissance right now literally shows you through art, you heal. Do you know how deep it goes? Your Venus is in a sign called Shatabishka. That is Aquarius, type 3 to 6. Shatabishka's power is the power to heal. Venus in Shatabishka literally talks about this is when the lotus flower will blossom. Shatabishka is ruled by Varuna, the god of justice and the enforcers of Karma. It's ruled by Rahu. You are not just healing in your country and as a collective. The world will see your healing. And you no longer have to be ashamed of like anything. I often think too much that, you know, there's a lot of racial injustice that happens in Boriken, right? And there's a lot of nasty feelings that have come through religion, the Americans, and even the Spaniards imposing their culture onto yours, that I think there is a level of psychological trauma. In fact, let me talk to you about some of the things that occurred when you had the Venus Mahadasha and the importance of it coming back round and how you're healing and fixing it, and why it is such a big key to your liberation, because you will be liberated within the next 30 years, but we have to get to work, Boricuas. The thing I want to emphasize is Venus in Shatabishka is deeply, deeply spiritual. We associate it to tantrics, astrologers, occultists, but it also symbolizes indigenous raw practices. So when you had this transit for the first time, this is when you were undergoing the Spanish colonial era. And this is when you had a lot of religious and linguistic erasure. So again, I know the Spanish missionaries systematically sought to eradicate diurnal spirituality. They demonized your religion, symbols, and essentially called everything evil idols and ended up destroying it and making it legal for you guys to practice it, and will obviously torture you for doing so. That's when you had the imposition of Catholicism, which is making your country sick, by the way. Your ancestors are very mad. You need to go back to ancestral worshipping. 3, linguistic impact. it is traumatic to cut away the language of your ancestors and impose something onto other people. Number two, if we look at the American colonial era, this is when it gets even more nasty, because in 1902, again, you were going through a Venus Mahadasha, they had the Language Act, right, which made English the sole medium of instruction in all public schools. Spanish-speaking Boricuas were punished, humiliated, even had their mouths washed out with speaking with soap. I hate colonizers. And that has to create some sort of psychological trauma, right? Venus also symbolizes learning. Think about how the American colonizers have completely erased your struggles, your stories, your culture, and tried to embed a whitewashed version of all you being so happy that they occupy your land, right? Also, they're the reason there's that myth of benevolent assimilation. That is so untrue. The Boricuas have successfully defended off every fucking colonizer, and they have intentionally made you financially stuck with them so you can never leave. Art is not just a movement so people learn about the country and the struggles. It's meant to radicalize your people, to put them on the side of liberation, and also the art will bring in money. But it's important to understand that cultural erasure has never been that successful. Rahul, the planet of provoking things so radical change can occur, destiny, the divine plan being unveiled, is currently going through the 9 types of Aquarius. The revolution, the reclaiming starts in unconventional ways, but it will happen and it will have a stronger impact than you could ever imagine. There's going to be a divine journey as America gets disowned by the rest of the world. They get to know you through your lens, your words, your history. That's divine justice. Art fuels revolutions. Art is a medium where people can learn, even when they're disqualified from entering classrooms or they don't have the means to get to classrooms. Art can make the people who feel so comfortable to bully you and hate you and rob your stories and remix them to make it seem like you're not even victims. All that gets dismantled. Shadabishka is ultimately about uncovering hidden knowledge. So this is not just about you reclaiming your culture and psychologically redoing all the damage that they have done through their colonialism, but the world will know your story. And when they know your stories and your time comes for liberations, they will be so behind you. They want you free of the United States. Your prosperity comes from when you are free of them. Don't go for statehood, go for your independence, and I promise you, you will never regret it. Come from musical people. Of course, the first footsteps of the true thing that leads you to liberation will begin with music. Look at it here, right? When you look at the global domination now of Boricke's music, look at it like this. Number one, it's a great way for anti-colonial lyrics, not to just spread amongst your communities, but amongst the world. They will now know the injustices and they will get behind you. Number two, reclaiming identity. The horrors that you have survived when it comes to cultural erasure literally make me so motherfucking sick. Good for you. Not just tell your stories, but tell your stories in your words, in your slang. Number three, direct action. They spend so time blocking you guys out, whitewashing the horrors that they do to you to this day and regularly. It's the freedom of speech and they can't stop you either. Let's talk about visual arts. You reclaim space. I was thinking about it. When you have public art, graffiti, murals, especially in neighborhoods like Santaros, and viable murals often depict Taino imagery, African roots and icons of resistance, you are transforming public spaces back into ownership. Like, fuck these people that are like white neighborhoods. Puerto Rico is not a white nation. Oh, Borique, sorry. Also, themes of resistance and memory, right? It's environmental justice. When you start taking up space and redecorating it, you're reclaiming land that's been butchered. And also, these are grassroots art movements. Number three, Venus represents food. Think about the farm to food table that's happening in Puerto Rico when it comes to scene. That's a level of activism. Because you're stepping away from this idea of imported American goods. You're celebrating your rich agricultural knowledge, history, and prosperity as you should. You're reviving the forgotten African and Taino practices and crops. Fuck it, community kitchens are political activism. We cannot underplay how the people came together to feed one another after the hurricane. Even the change in literature is helping decolonize people so liberation can happen and people are well informed, while we don't have to be scared of depending on America. You're creating a new national image and you're building from the ground up. Freedom.